Hey everyone, today I'll be using Apricot Pie from Master Soap Creations and Pasteur Pharmacy, nice collaboration, and I'll be talking about the true story of Betty Crocker. Stay tuned. Good morning everyone, how are you? John Bonham here, Cape Cod Wet Shaving. Another history shave. First one in a long time where I've done, one in a consecutive week. So I'm glad I was able to adhere to that. Coffee of the day. One of my favorite holiday scents of all time. Chocolate cranberry from Cape Cod Coffee. That's about as local as you can get. I mean, I literally go to where they brew that. And you can see the vats where they're making it and roasting the beans and stuff in the building as you go to get it. So, great stuff. Okay, so today I will be using Apricot Pie from Master Soap Creations and Pasteur Pharmacy. Wonderful collaboration. I think this is the only one they did. No, they did Bloom as well together. I would love to see another collab between those two. Pasteur does wonderful collaborations with different artisans, but this is one of my favorites. I'm picky about gourmand scents. This is one of my favorite gourmand scents that I own across the board, period. Not just from Master Soap Creations. All right, let me get through the software first before I get ahead of myself. Matching splash. Pre-shave oil I have on is once again, my Bourbon Vanilla Cremo pre-shave. Well, beard oil. Works as a pre-shave. And for the balm, I'll be using Sweet Pecan from Stirling. All right. So the reason I picked this, the scent notes of the soap are apricot, almond, vanilla. Period. Absolutely delicious. It's one of the ones I want to eat. Don't. The splash, however, is far more almondy and vanilla-ish, like nutty vanilla. So that Sweet Pecan will go with it beautifully. Hardware, because where's the lid? Just because of that awning, I'm using my Candy Cane Cobble Farm 30mm white synthetic brush. Also, don't want to put this away just yet. I love these things. They're technically Christmas brushes, but like I said, I'll break them out if I want to, and I wanted to. So, King C Gillette. We got it. Yep, King C Gillette razor. Haven't used that in a while. And what am I forgetting? I know, the Treet Platinum blades. All right. I already built a lather off camera. I'm going to save some time, try to. I've been pushing the envelope with these. I try to aim for 30 minutes. I've been hitting like 35. So really not happy with that. I know you guys are already putting up with a lot at 30. But it is what it is. I'm going to try. All right. But here's my lather using my Captain's Choice heavy copper bowl. Oh, this stuff's so good. Whew, love it. All right. So let's get started. So y'all are probably scratching your heads that I picked Betty Crocker, of all people, to do a history shave about. So believe it or not, this was actually a request from my wife. We were talking, I can't remember what we were talking about. I think we were talking about like bleach flour and it's bad for you or something like that. We were talking about something to do with cooking. Jess brought up Betty Crocker. And then I just saw the light bulb go on in her head because she went, wait, do you know about Betty Crocker? I'm like, of course I know Betty Crocker. Who doesn't? She said, no, like the founding and the history of Betty Crocker. And I said, no, I don't think so. I know she's been around for a while, like since the 50s or 60s, right? She went, no. She goes, you should look it up and do a shave about it. And I went, oh my God, that's a great idea. So Jessica, thank you. First wife suggested first wife request, I should say. I also have another one coming, a second request from someone requested something that I'm going to do for the next history shave. In fact, I bought a specific set for that, okay? Or I had the soap, I needed the splash, something like that. Anyway, so, all right, let's get to lathering my face. Get my brush wet again. And I'm aware that I'm using Master Soap Creations twice in a row here. One, it's just really good. And two, This is the first set that popped into my head when I realized I'd be doing a Betty Crocker topic, or a topic about cooking. So I'm like, I gotta use that stuff. I haven't used it in a long time. I think since this past summer. Something like that. Anywho. And this brush, I talked to John. How you doing, John? At Cobble Hill Farm. And I said, I don't know where you got this knot, dude, but synthetics are my least favorite out of the 4 knots you can get. But this one is a lot more scritchy, like a boar, and a lot more backbone than I'm accustomed to in synthetics. That's the main complaint I have about synthetics, is they don't soak up water the way I like. And they're very, very bendy and soft, and people like the soft for their face, which I get, but soft also affects the lathering for me. I like to, you know, mix and match. So if I have a crope, I'll be more inclined to probably use a synthetic or a horse brush. Because horsehair, you can soak up the water. You get that scritchy feeling, but it's also soft. So that covers that soft base. Backbone wise. Anywho, sorry. Okay, off we go. So, Betty Crocker has been called the First Lady of Food and the Dear Abby of Cooking. However, her story is actually quite surprising and complex, and boy is it. I learned a lot with this stuff. It was really neat. And we all know Betty Crocker. All know and love Betty Crocker. Okay. So Betty Crocker was never a real person. All right. I don't know if I knew that or not. It makes sense. I read that and was like, all right, makes sense, I guess. Kind of like Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima was not a real person. However, the woman's likeness was. That's another story in its own right. Her family to this day is very well to do, simply because of that woman's photo. Never mind the fact that people are calling it racist and stuff when it's her family's well off because of it. Anyway, sorry, won't get into that. Never a real person. Instead, she came into existence as an advertising campaign in 1921. Okay, here is the first ad mentioning Betty Crocker in 1921, and that's gold medal flour. Okay, pretty neat ad. So, wanting to create a personalized image for consumer questions, Betty Crocker was the brainchild of a flour milling company called Washburn Crosby Co. You might have seen that in the photo for that ad. Let me move this stuff around. Get to shaving. This company would actually evolve into present-day General Mills. All right, they merged in the 30s or early 40s, I believe. I think it was during the early 40s, during World War II, they merged. And that actually happened a lot during the time. History is amazing. Like during Prohibition, companies that used to make booze actually shifted and started making something else. And they're now known for that something else rather than making booze. So during the war effort, I believe they merged together to save each other, the companies. All right, sorry. At the start, however, Betty Crocker was primarily used to advertise gold medal flour, which we still have today. That's what gold medal flour looked like back in the day. As you can see, it's a burlap bag. And you saw with the other ad, it was a gold medal flour ad campaign. So glad to have this back. I miss this. I love those kitchen shaves. You see me snag the skin on my cheekbone? Those kitchen shaves are awesome, but I kept forgetting my damn mustache hook. All right. And this is one of the most wonderful and efficient razors, in my opinion, that I have. I bought it because it was the only big box, 3-piece, non-TTO that I'd ever seen. And I was just like, I gotta have it. And I love it. This is one of my favorite razors. A lot of people don't like it because it's mild. I love that it's mild. Angle's easy to hit, and I just Go. And it's a great learner razor because the knurling's only up on the top part of the handle where you're technically is where you're supposed to hold the razor. I still struggle with that depending on the handle. I just forget. You know what I mean? All right. Eventually, a man named Samuel Gale would come to invent one of the most well-known bits of Americana. That right there is Samuel Gale on the left, the bald guy. And that was during a 40s campaign. They were trying to figure something out, I believe, is when that photo was taken. He is currently in the General Mills Hall of Advertising Fame because of his invention of Betty Crocker. So the department manager of Washburn Crosby's all-male advertising department, Gale came to realize that he and his staff, his male staff, would constantly go to women, the women workers of the company, and they would refer to them, the female employees, for help in answering kitchen questions. These were the times, okay? People get all pissed off. So he came to the conclusion that women would almost certainly wish to hear responses from other women. Probably, yes. Gale created a fictitious female chief of correspondence, Betty Crocker. Now, the reason I'm laughing, now keep in mind, this was right after the 19th Amendment, okay? Which gave women the right to vote. The 19th Amendment was proposed in 1919 and enacted in 1920. And this is after years of women fighting tooth and nail to get the right to vote. So this was a paltry year after they were given the right to vote. Again, these were the times. So the reason I'm laughing is because this guy came to the conclusion like women would like to hear from other women. How in the world could we benefit from this? There's something we can do different. And you see women in the background like, you know, he goes, I got it. Let's invent a fake woman. And they're all just back there like, you know, that's why I laugh. I'm not laughing at that. It's just the times were so crazy. Imagine pulling that off now. Trying to. Holy lawsuit, Batman. So anywho, ended up with, you know, for the better. So Crocker was from one of the retired directors of Washburn Crosby. He had just recently retired. So it was an honorable thing to call him that. Betty was selected as it was dubbed cheerful and pure sounding, which I agree. You know, like Joe or Billy or something that sounded undeniably American. Easily relatable. All right. Kind of like, it's my own name, so I was going to say like John. Not that it's, you know, a great name. I love the name, obviously. I'm kind of partial to it, but I think most people at some point knew a John. I think that's really what they're going for, is that it's something relatable to everyone, to a wide audience, because most people would know a Betty. All right. Wow, I'm already on the other side. I am saving time. Look at that. Okay. Halfway through, so let me talk about the soap, which I already kind of did. I find this to be a very interesting decision that they went this route. I don't know when this soap was released. I actually got it late after it was released because I saw the name. Really wasn't a fan of Gourmand. Passed over it. Tried, I believe, one of McDuff Sean. How you doing, bud? One of Sean's soaps. It was either lychees or stone fruit, something food related. I can't remember. Maybe it was after Sauvignon Blanc when I realized that I could indeed like something considered gourmand even if I didn't like what it was based on. And I do not like wine, let alone white wine. If I had to choose between drinking only one wine, I would pick red. Glad you're happy to know that. Or I bet you're happy to know that now about me. But this is really, really well done. I just talked to Fernando after my peppermint latte shave. He saw the post, and I had mentioned on the video I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I haven't talked to him in months and months. Craig Will, the Scottish shaver, we're a little trifecta of friends. So I would talk to Craig, and then talk to Fernando, and then we'd talk to each other. And then I just kind of stopped talking to either of them. So anyway, he reached out to me. He saw the tag on the post and said thank you. I said you're welcome, and how you been, and all that. Good Christmas, Happy New Year. Wonderful guy. So hopefully he enjoys me using this, because I don't see this used a lot. It might have been a sleeper. And people seem to react very positively to my top 10 scents list that I posted yesterday. I was very happy to see that. I always feel that, you know, just scents are divisive. Not divisive, I'm sorry. Scents are, well, it can be divisive. What's the damn term I'm trying to think of? No one's going to like everything. Someone will say, you got to get this. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then you'll get it and you'll smell it and go, Just, everyone's different. So I'm always worried that someone, not worried. Yeah, worried. That someone will look at my list and that's like the worst list I've ever seen. And it's a dumb thing to worry about because, well, I like this stuff. You don't like it, you know, go that way. I don't know. Keep scrolling. Swipe left, wherever the hell the damn kids say these days. Oh, that's good. God, that's good. I got to use Cape Cod cranberry from Katie's Bubbles and drink that. All right. Back to it. Ready? Betty was given a voice in 1924 when Washburn Crosby, I already forgot, I just wrote WC because I was sick of writing it. Washburn Crosby. Washburn Guitars, Bing Crosby. There we go. Washburn Crosby hired a woman named Marjorie Child Husted to write and voice a show called the Betty Crocker Cooking School of the Air. There's Marjorie at her desk. This was a groundbreaking thing for women in general. She really made Betty Crocker the woman's woman than anyone at the time. And she started the groundwork for what would come. This woman right here. So, and the cooking school of the air was radio, air radio, blah, blah, blah. So, in 1951, her face was first seen when Washburn Crosby hired Adelaide Hawley, H-A-W-L-E-Y, Hawley, to portray Betty on TV. She would be the first of many to portray the role. All right. There's Mrs. Hawley right there in 1958. Very beautiful woman. She also was the second half of the groundbreaking the groundbreaking women at the time to build this brand up. So Hale had the idea, but these women were the ones that made Betty Crocker Betty Crocker. And I personally think there's really not a lot guys could have done past a certain point. It just took a woman's touch, as they say. God, such a good shaver. I love this razor, man. So I had an idea for another top 10 list. I'm going to do a few more. I noticed I get a good response for the top 10 lists. God, what was his name? I should have written it down. A guy named Robert something from... I'm in so many freaking shave groups on Facebook. I can't remember the name of it. It's so embarrassing because he did me a great service. He posted my list, and it's one of the groups with 3.3 thousand people. 3,300 people in it. Shaved in, something shaved in. It has a blue razor blade, blue and white logo. I'm kicking myself here. Well, thank you. You obviously must watch my channel if you saw the video and you posted it. I'm very sorry. I should have looked that up. That's very embarrassing. But thank you for doing what you did for me. Because I didn't post it on Facebook because I'm afraid I've gotten my post removed a couple times for self-advertising or whatever. So just to be on the safer side, I don't really go and say, hey, I have a new video up on Facebook. I'll just do it on Instagram. Self-promotion, that's what it is, self-promotion. But yeah, I think I'm going to do some, you know, my top 5 favorite razors, my top 5 personal ones I think you should start out with, that kind of thing. There's a bunch of those out there, but not mine, right? Okay. So her face had actually existed in portrait form in printed ads and on labels since the 1920s. Now this is really cool. A composite painting utilizing blended features of the Washburn-Crosby women had been created. Okay? Boom. This is that portrait of a composite of all the women's facial features into one portrait. Now, you might have to go back and look, or you might already notice, that's the same woman's face that was on the first ad in 1921. All right? So I think that it said early 1920s, I would imagine, because if that ad's in 1921, this was also made in 1921. But yeah, that's the same woman, the same face as the gold medal ad in the beginning. So since 1955, Betty's image has been changed 7 times. 7. In 1965, this one's awesome. In 1965, she was drawn to slightly resemble the former First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy. There's that photo. This was Betty Crocker in 1965. I see Jackie's hair. I really personally don't see Jackie. Although I do think she looks like an actress. I just can't place who. Maybe y'all could let me know what you think she looks like. But I thought that was pretty badass that they did that. Poor Jackie, man. I try to aim for unknown factoids. So I probably won't do a history shave on Jackie Onassis Kennedy, but one thing I do want to do is go on Otis Air Force Base here. They have something called the Kennedy House. And it was literally a house built on Otis here. Because JFK, they were in Hyannisport. The Kennedy compound is only about 25 minutes from me, by the way. He was in between Washington and Hyannisport and everything, coming to this base so often that they built him a house. Just to have an in-between, between landing on the airstrip on Otis and then going to Hyannisport. It was just an extra place for him to bunk. And I think Jackie and the kids stayed there far more than JFK did. Still pretty neat. So I wouldn't mind doing a history shave on that. I have to get on the base and tell them what I want to do and see if they'll let me though. All right. So her first namesake grocery item carrying her brand, the first one in stores, was actually a soup mix in 1941. Her well-known cake mix would not appear until 1947. The Betty Crocker cookbook, bestseller to this day, was first available and published in 1950, and I believe the last edition released was in 2016, and it was like the 10th edition, something like that. There we go. Alright, the famous red spoon logo was first used in 1954 and is considered to be one of the most instantly recognizable brands today. I would agree with that one. In 1945, she was considered the second most popular woman in America, second only to Eleanor Roosevelt. That's pretty badass. In 1945, at the close of the war, when everyone loved Eleanor and FDR. Betty Crocker was right under them. Like, that's how beloved this woman was in 1945. That's a pretty cool woman. So, I'm going to leave you with this photo. I just stumbled on this, and I was like, that's too cool to not include. Although there's not really a topic I can include it on, so I decided to save it for last. All right? Betty Crocker remained the most famous fictional female character until, you're going to love this, she remained the most famous fictional female character in America from 1921 until Flo from Progressive. That's how long she remained the most popular fictional female character. It took Flo from Progressive to knock her off that throne. And nothing against Stephanie Courtney. That's the actress that plays Flo. But I kind of wish Betty Crocker had stayed there, because that's just such a historic, long record. And don't ask me why I know the name of the Flo actress, because I actually don't know why I know that. I know she was in an episode of Everyone Loves Raymond, and that's really it. All right. Oh, completely forgot. Last photo. Ready? That is a painting of Betty Crocker from none other than Norman Rockwell. How cool is that? Norman Rockwell's painting her, man. So that's about as American as you can get. So that is why once I started doing research, I was like, I gotta do this. Because right there on the spot, when Jess was like, you should look into Betty Crocker, I did. We were sitting there watching Parks and Rec or something, and I started looking into it. And then she looks over, and I'm just on my phone like this. She's like, you're watching? I'm like, yeah. So, it was really neat. Very cool. So, all right. I was on a streak, and then I ruined it. Let me wash my face off. I'm going to do post-shave. Be right back. Wonder how that'll look when I edit it. Probably done. All right, I'm back, by the way. I have more energy than normal, which is awesome. And he's sleeping right over there, so hopefully you don't hear him. Oh, because that means I'll have to stop what I'm doing and go grab him. Baby, I mean. All right. So this splash is really good. I like it a lot. Like I said, it's far more... I'm actually not too sure what apricot smells like. Not really. I've never eaten an apricot that I'm aware of. We have the dried apricots. And I remember my doctor and Jess's doctor, as a healthier alternative to like sweets and candy and all that, they were like, why don't you get dried apricots and eat those? They're healthier for you. They taste good. We're like, yeah, let's try that. And we got them. Freaking hated them. They had the consistency. It was like eating, I don't know. Like, you know when you bite your nail and you like chew on the skin? It's like that. Like, ugh. They were very bland. They didn't taste great. So, again, a fresh apricot. I wouldn't know how to peel one, what to look for, how to tell if it was ripe. But in the splash, it's very almond and vanilla heavy. So, that's a nice finish. Oh, good grief. I got it. I don't know if you saw it. It went down my arm. That's why I was doing this. I poured out too much. All right. Coup de grace, as they say in Tejas. Hope everyone's had a great start to the new year. I have. Very blessed. Very happy with where I am in life. I'm going to be 42 here shortly. I won't say when. And I remember I was talking to my wife, because she was asking, because she's going to be 40. And, oh, she was asking me, what is it like being 40? And I had told her, and I meant this, and I didn't really even know it until I answered her. Oh my God, that's so good. Not really, but that's what I want to do. I remember freaking out more about turning 30 than I was when I turned 40. When I was 30, I was like, oh my God, I'm 30. It's going by so fast. I can't imagine when I turn 40. I'm freaking out when I'm 30. And this is funny. Because then I turned 40 and I was just like, cool. My wife was like, what do you want for your birthday? Coke and a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. I'm serious. I'm like, so am I. Well, I'm not getting you that. Well, that's not cool because now I want Cool Ranch Doritos. And a Coke. So, I'm just chill that way, I guess. It's funny. Oh, well. Anyway, I'm sorry. 31 minutes. All right, well, let me go ahead and end it. I'm on a roll. Thank you, everyone, for watching, especially if you've returned. You guys are awesome. There's quite a few of you that come back and you watch every video. I really appreciate that. You have no idea. That's why I keep doing this. I am going to amp it up. I'm trying to juggle the Shave Tech schedule, then the live schedule we do, Doug and I, with artisans. Speaking of which, I'm going to be shaving with Super Safety Razors, a guy named Willie. He owns Parker Razor. We'll be doing a live shave with him. And Rod and Mandy from Stirling. We'll be doing a live shave with them. I'm also in talks with a couple of other people to do a live shave, whom everyone knows in the community. So, can't wait. All right. But yeah, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm open to any suggestions. I've gotten a few that I haven't done yet. I apologize. So either refresh my memory or just give me a new one. But I do have another request I'll be doing next. Can't wait for that one. All right. So thank you, everyone, very much. Really appreciate it. Till next time. Happy shaving, everybody.